Hey everybody, Kay, the late bloomer here, checking in from the homestead about the soil on my property. Take a look. So when I first came to town, I stopped in at the extension office, which people recommended to me and I was already planning to do. And I was loaned this soil probe where you can test your soil by sticking it in. The soil collects in this tube, you get it out somehow. If it's really hard clay, you gotta scrape it out with a screwdriver. And I had this in my kitchen for a good 6 weeks almost. And he called today and he said, hey, if you're done with that probe, I'd love for you to drop it back down. So I knew I had to do it today. Now, I was also given 3 sample boxes. Each box costs $15 to test. It is sent into the University of Tennessee and they test it to see what kind of soil you have. Well, going through my probing, I discovered that I have between 2 and this many inches of soil depth to start with. Most of the time that I poked this in the ground, it went down 2 inches. So just enough for a little bit of soil, some grass roots, and then boom, you hit rock. I'm testing 3 areas. The garden beds, and what you do is you write on here where you're testing, and then that coordinates with a sheet that you mail in with these boxes. It's a good idea to put these boxes into another box. They're not mail worthy. And I'm also testing this is going to be the backyard. I haven't done that yet. And this is the front yard. Well, I can tell you right now, the garden beds have beautiful, loose, rich garden soil that you can literally pick up with your hand. It looks like it just came out of the box if you bought it, and most of it looks like that. All the beds I tested, some have more native soil, some have less of this wonderful soil they've added either by compost or mulch or planting mix, whatever. But when you get around the fruit trees, there is more clay, more native soil. I tested the area below the raised beds where the sun hits most of all. And it's almost entirely clay. I mean, I had clay soil in Los Angeles. It was like a brick, a wet brick. And this is not much better because look, you know? So pretty much this entire box is all the same. I've got a few grass roots in here because you can't avoid those when you probe it down through the grass. So this is all clay, but I found it interesting that I did have this much depth. That looks to me like about 10 inches. So there are some areas as you get more towards the middle of the yard that the soil is deeper, but it's still the clay. So I'm going to gather up the backyard soil, package it up, and take it down and have it mailed to the university and have it tested. But this is a great thing for you to do, especially if you're starting in a new place. Get your soil tested. Some places actually have a quota of free tests. When I was in Ashland, I met with the extension office director there, and she said they have a quota of a certain number of free tests, and then you have to pay. Maybe they don't have a quota here, maybe they've reached it already. At any rate, each one of these boxes will cost $15, but that will give me a good idea of what I'm dealing with. Because who knows what this was like. This property was owned by a zinc mining company until 1988. And so my suspicions that I would only be able to grow in raised beds have been confirmed. Yes, I might be able to till these 9 inches, but you know, it fluctuates between 6 and 9, so I'd love to have a big stand of corn, but corn is a heavy feeder, and those roots need support to support those tall stalks. So I would have to put dump trucks full of topsoil on my front yard to have a stand of corn, a big stand of corn out there. You know, you work with what you have, and that's what I'm going to do. So now I'm going to go in the back and I'm going to do the back sample. I can't, because of all the shading of the house over that way, I'm not even going to bother. I am just going to do this section here because I know that the entire year this little piece over here will be in sun. And I'm thinking about having just a little kitchen garden right out back and having, you know, a few tomato plants, peppers, whatever. So let's go over and test that soil. Okay, it's pretty simple. Well, I still have this clod in here, but don't worry, it won't be deeper than that. Yep, that's rock right there. Hear that scraping? Okay, there might be something that works better than a screwdriver because this is kind of skinny, but that's all I could think of that was metal. You stick wood in here, it's going to break. But you see how this is very thick clay. And of course we already know that there's a lot of water back here. Clay holds water. Which I guess is great in the summer when you have dry spells. Okay, it sure felt like it was deeper than that. I'm just really trying to get an idea of how deep the soil is, even though I know I'm going to have to amend it. What am I doing? That's scraping. But you see it pulled itself out. Okay, you know what I need to do? I need to wiggle it more, I think, because this chunk is coming out. That's much better. All right, that's really impossible to say. But what we can do is we can stick this in here. And you know that's got to be at least 6-7 inches. Yep, that goes all the way down. So I know I've got that much. I actually turned it that time. You see, what it wants to do is it wants to let go from here to here. I don't know why, but it's this deep, which is a good, gosh, that could be 10 inches deep of soil. Hey, that's exciting. Okay. Okay, this is pretty much like the front yard. I don't know what wood that is, but it smells so sweet. I don't remember when I got wood chips in California that it smelled so sweet. Oh, I can't wait to use that. Hey, if you're a late bloomer like me, I hope you enjoy my channel and subscribe and tell your friends. And I look forward to seeing you in my next adventure from the homestead. And follow my adventures. Did I say that? Look who has found a warm spot in front of the fireplace. That's Lyndon.